talk about gifts. The Ghanaian culture accept gifts given and receiving. You don't go to, say, traditional leaders empty-handed. It's expected. At what point should we be worried about gift giving and receiving of gift, especially in public service?
For me, the rule of thumb with gift is, can you really anticipate a situation where the person giving you the gift intends to get something in return? Gift, and I think Shrad has done again a lot of work in this area. There's a lot written, and indeed it's supposed to be codified. I'm not sure why we still don't have that bill yet, but there's supposed to be a bill which has been hanging for a few years now, which would probably try to make it a little clearer in terms of what's an acceptable gift, what is not acceptable. But my rule of thumb is, if I accept the gift, there's going to be some anticipation of something, a quid pro quo, something in return. For example, I do a lot of interviews of our senior officers. Somebody knows they're going to come before me in my panel to assess them for a position. The day before or before the exercise, you come to me and you say, oh, and indeed this has happened. We were out in the northern sector, and the exercise was to happen. We had traveled in from Accra. We got there at nightfall. And then an officer who was supposed to be one of the assessees come in and say, oh, we know you travel fine, you're tired, but this one is small for you to, with a what? A thick blanket. So I said, what is this? You didn't get us here, we are here. So please, you go back. My advice to you would be, go back. We're not coming to ask you any difficult questions. We're just going to be asking you about the position that you want us to recommend you for. If you're ready for that position and you know what that position is about, you shouldn't worry. But if you haven't done that, rather than this, please go back to your home and quickly reflect on this position. Do I have what it takes to actually do this job that I'm asking them to give me? He went away, and indeed the next day when he appeared, he couldn't look up. And so I think in terms of gift, for me, this one was an example of somebody who clearly wanted to influence maybe the outcome of the exercise, even before the exercise had started. But would I, and again, you talk about traditions. I've gone to the northern sector where you go, you meet the chief, as you said, and before you leave, you're given some tubers of yam. I mean, maybe I went to pay a courtesy call to them because I was in the area, and they give you the traditional goat. If I say I'm not taking it, there are implications in terms of our cultural understandings. And so would I risk to offend the traditional ruler by saying, no, gifts, Shrag says we shouldn't take gifts? I think, again, we have to be a bit more subtle than that. And I have learned something from my former boss, Professor Wood, who is incidentally one of the people I am eternally grateful for in terms of making me who I am and bringing me really up to speed. At the time he was my boss, sometimes, in fact, there were times he almost made me cry. And but he says in a can, may binim. And I guess he must have done a good job. When he gets something like, even if it's a goat or something, he gets even the money way after the effect. His advice was, just go give it to maybe somebody needy. He takes it to a home. If he gets a goat or he gets a sheep, he carries it to Osu children's home. And so he would not offend the giver who may have been really interested in giving this out of the goodness and maybe to show their acknowledgement of something that they appreciate you did for them. But then it's not something personal. It's a self-interest when it comes to gift giving, which I think we need to watch out for. And as public officers, I think the gift comes, and sometimes here I would also want to say to the public, don't put them in the position, really. Don't put the public officers in the position.
Please, again, talk to the public, because gift giving and gift receiving is an issue in Ghana. And now you are talking about how the public should handle it. So we don't know who is watching us.
No, I believe the public
But
also...
you must also know that sometimes if you don't give the gift, the frustration, the delay, and so as you address the public, address that side also.
Yeah, but if you give because you want to jump the queue, if you give whatever it is, anticipating that you're going to get something in return, then it's illegal. In our system, and Straj has the guidelines and the rules, and indeed, if you're caught doing that, folks, public officers, if you're caught doing that, you might find yourself in trouble. If you receive the gift in anticipation of work to be done, you're going to be influenced. And the whole thing is for you not to be influenced, to be able to do your work as best as you can without being... So what happens to the people who cannot give?
And that is the issue. You go to hospital, you need attention. And you said you were at a place, somebody was watching television. The nurses are around, the doctors. If you are looking for your file in the ministries, if you be nice in the area of gift giving, within a second they find you.
And that is wrong. I think again, and that's
but
why
this
I'm saying...
is what is happening in this country. You may know better than I do because of where you are.
I think I do not know better than you, but I think again, this is why I say it's a societal thing. We all need to work on this, because the person giving, in my mind anyway, is as guilty as the one receiving. If you don't give and you give them the work and they won't do it, we've got other avenues you can use to bring that to light. I get petitions all the time, some from the public, some from public officers who are not happy with some treatment that has been meted out to them. And so there are avenues. In fact, we went as far as, the Whistleblowing Act. We're not implementing it as much as some of us would have liked. But at least there's some areas where you can go make these reports. But if you want instant, and that's the challenge of today, instant gratification. We want Sakawa money. Quick. We want to go to the ritualists and do these funny things because we want. No, you cannot gain where you haven't sown. I think you have to work hard. And as Ghanaians, if the officers are doing the work, truly sometimes they do have thick files to go through. Now, if you come in and you give me the money and I take yours from the bottom and work on it, as opposed to going systematically, if your boss is watching, you get into trouble. And so I would not do it. I would not encourage anybody. And sometimes it's the me again. What's in it for me? As public officers, I started by saying, if you're in public service because of the money, then I think you have it all wrong. You probably need to go find something else to do. Because the money on this side, very often, it's not great. You have to have a real love for the work and a real love to help and serve people. And if you don't have that, then I think we're in trouble. So Ghanaians, I think as much as it's very difficult, I think Ghanaians also can help the public officer by not tempting us. For want of we just went through Easter. Jesus was tempted. But I think for Christ's sake, do not tempt the public officer. Do not give. And if you find that they're dragging their feet, very often there are levels. And there's always somebody. I find that most organizations, you may have some bad nuts. There are some notorious people who will do this and will not listen to what anybody has to say. But I think there are many of the public officers also who really feel and are afraid of doing the wrong thing. They're trying to do the best that they can. And that's why, for me, the education on what is ethical, what is not ethical, is paramount. Every organization has to have a program where at least 2-3 times a year, whether it's at derbers, whether it's at workshops, whatever avenue you can find, that we keep reminding ourselves as to what is the right thing to do and what we shouldn't do and what we should try and stay away from. But I think the public, if the public also do not give us, and indeed because we are not getting, we are not doing the work, then you can come to some of us and probably let us know, and we'll know how to deal with it. And the people who are actually causing us all to have black eyes will be disciplined, or at least we'll deal with them in accordance with the rules. We've got plenty of rules that we can actually use to take care of some of these things.